once again, good morning, class 6, and a warm welcome. And I would like to tell you all, of course, in advance, a very happy Diwali. I saw so many of your drawings and diya paintings, and I heard your Diwali plans, and I'm very sure you all are going to have a beautiful Diwali, and it's going to bring, the Lakshmi Ganesh Puja. It is done to bring good luck, happiness in every household, for which you also have Dhanteras. Yesterday was Dhanteras, and then you have the Lakshmi Ganesh Puja.
Ma'am, Dhanteras shopping. Ma'am, Dhanteras.
Yes, ma'am. On Dhanteras, we should buy gold.
They say it's good because why? Because you are bringing Ma Lakshmi to home, and then you are praying to Ma Lakshmi, and many places it is done. So they have.
But one thing that we should not buy any type of iron material on Dhanteras.
Okay, that is something yes, you see, anything that you buy has to deal with some of the cultures and rituals that we have do have some biasness, but true. Okay, it is said that buying gold being a little rare metal, and people say buying gold is good because it brings good luck. But anyway, I'm very sure every household, if if the people are good, it will bring good luck and good happiness in in your house. So it's the love that is there that makes everyone happy at home. Okay, so on that note, we are going to continue with history. Yesterday's paper, could you all solve it?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to see
Only 5 questions.
frame the answers. I hope everyone has written it down, because I want to see how you have framed your answers, how you are writing, because that is important. Okay, objectives will be there, like what is happening this time in class 10. I will tell you, they are having their exam in 2 parts. So one part is taking place, for which the mock tests are going on now in school, for which I had the exam duty yesterday. So you see, one part is objective based, which is where you have to apply, think and answer like you give in Vicon, and another part is going to be writing. So both should be in your habit. And whenever you get any study material, and from class 7, you will be having books. In all subjects, you will be having books. So 7 onwards, this is something that you people should get into the habit of reading the chapters thoroughly. Read it line by line, underline the key areas. It is always helpful. Okay. Now we are going to go ahead with the conquest of Alexander. Yes, last day many of you couldn't see the video. Should I play it again? I have kept it ready.
No, it was like,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
was like you were
Guessing the
we
picture.
were talking and you couldn't.
Wait.
So it was like ma'am put on the video and was like we are all hearing and we are making a chaos that we cannot hear, and ma'am was
I can understand.
Ma'am, we were guessing by its pictures. Ma'am, we were guessing by its pictures.
You were
That what
guessing by
happened.
the
So at
pictures.
home.
Let me then try today. Let's see if it works. I have got the video ready to see if
Ma'am, otherwise you can do the share screen option. Then one of us can share and show it.
if it is not working, then
That would be
I
chaos.
would see. Let's see. This was the video I wanted to show you all.
Yes, ma'am. The Byju's one.
Ma'am, we can hear.
Now you can hear. See, it's actually
Yes,
my
ma'am.
home internet is not being shared. No,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
I've already watched it. It was very interesting.
Yes, I also watched it from the Byju's app.
Ma'am, I didn't get. Please, ma'am.
Alexander III was born in Peia, Macedonia, in 356 BCE to King Philip II and Queen Olympia. The Greeks always believed that they were destined to rule the world. Philip held this view too. Until the age of 16, his son Alexander was brought up on this belief in tales of glory, along with the teachings of Aristotle, a great teacher of the ancient world. In 336 BCE, Alexander's father Philip was assassinated, and at just 20 years old, Alexander claimed the Macedonian throne. Alexander was more than a match for his father's ambitions. He was charismatic, ruthless, brilliant, diplomatic, and power-hungry. He conquered the whole of the Persian Empire. Alexander blazed the path east, conquering Thebes, Ionia, Tyre, Egypt, and finally, Persia. He rolled over the Persian Empire just like that. He went, he saw, he conquered. And that is why he was given the title Alexander the Great. But nothing was enough. His aim was to conquer the whole world. And soon, his conquest brought him to the very edge of the known world, according to his teacher Aristotle, India. And how can a world conquest be complete without India being conquered? Alexander continued on his journey to conquer the world and reached till the northwestern part of India, conquering all that lay in between Greece and India. Alexander was like a forest fire, destroying everything in its path, consuming entire empires and kingdoms. This fire ravaged across the Indus and into Takshila. Afraid of the all-conquering flames, King Omphis surrendered Takshila to Alexander. After gaining control over the prestigious Takshila city, which had the world-famous Takshila University, Alexander and his army were in good form. But then, a storm awaited Alexander. The eye of the storm. King Porus, the king of Punjab, was a worthy challenger to Alexander. Though Porus and his army was outnumbered by Alexander, they had a secret weapon which the Macedonian horses weren't prepared for: 100 elephants. In an ideal world, this battle should have ended right there. How can horses possibly win against elephants? You see, nothing about history is ideal. Just when it seemed like Alexander didn't stand a chance, the heavens opened up and the battleground became a muddy trap for the elephants. Porus's biggest weapon became his biggest weakness. The elephants got trapped in the mud, and that turned the odds in Alexander's favor. After 7 hours of gruesome fighting, the Battle of Hydaspes ended. Porus's tired soldiers were defeated, and Alexander remained undefeated. The mighty Porus, defeated at last. You fought well, and your men were brave. But alas, they don't call me Alexander the Great for nothing. Now, tell me, Porus, how should I treat you? Treat me as a king would treat another king.
Impressed, Alexander indeed treated him like a king, allowing him to retain his lands. He allowed him to rule over his old kingdom as a governor. After securing kingdoms present in the Punjab region, Alexander now sought to conquer areas further east, along the Gangetic Valley, which were extremely fertile and populous. He continued his expedition east. But would his dream finally come true? Would he become the undefeated king of the world? The army of Alexander was approaching the boundaries of the Nanda Empire. But Alexander had to face a new obstacle now. Alexander's army, exhausted from the continuous battle campaigning, demanded that they should return to the west. The army had made it as far as the Hyphasis, the modern Beas River. They had been away from home for more than 8 years, fighting strangers in even stranger lands. No wonder they were tired. The situation wasn't helped by a rumor that the Nandas had a massive army waiting to crush the Macedonians. According to Plutarch, the Greek scholar, the army of the Nanda Empire consisted of 200,000 infantry, 80,000 cavalry, 8,000 chariots, and 6,000 war elephants. The troops got so scared by the rumors that they rebelled and refused to fight. After sulking about this for a while, finally Alexander had to accept that he had no option but to turn back home. As Alexander turned back, he appointed some of his Greek generals to administer the vast areas he had conquered. But obviously, Alexander's generals weren't as great as Alexander, and so they weren't able to maintain peace and order in their territory. Alexander was now no more than 32, but already showing marked signs of physical and mental decline. Finally, on his way back to Macedonia, he got a fever, probably malaria, and a few weeks later, the conqueror of the known world was dead, most likely at the hands of a humble mosquito. He was just 32 years old.
If you like this video and want to watch
Okay, now could you hear it this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There is another video which is very
Yes, ma'am.
important 8-minute video. This is the Battle of Hydaspes that took place between. This is the Battle of Hydaspes, but the point is this is in Hindi, so you all can see it yourself, or maybe I'll not show it to you now. Let's see. So I'm not, because it's in Hindi. So that is one thing. But that is also a very good video. It's a very nice video showing you how the battle between Porus and Alexander took place. Quickly, like a small story. Telling you this is a story. So Alexander was born to King Philip, and and I
King
think
Philip the second, I think. The
King
second.
Philip
Queen
the second.
Olympia.
and Queen Olympia.
I think Queen Olympia was his second or his youngest queen. Queen Olympia. Now, Queen Olympia was, in their world, they used to believe they had different gods. So one of their most powerful gods was Zeus or Zeus. They used to say this. Zeus,
God
or
of
Zeus
war.
was
Yes,
the god
Zeus.
of war, the god of power. So it is said that Olympia was a very big patron. Olympia used to pray to Zeus or Zeus a lot. So Olympia wanted a son who would one day rule the world. So Queen Olympia was very ambitious herself, and Philip was too. So to Olympia and Philip was born Alexander. So when Alexander was born, Olympia was very, very happy. And Olympia used to say that Alexander, even many believed that, he is the son of Zeus. He was so mighty and powerful. He had such a personality. Okay, they used to say that as if Alexander is the son of a god. Really, as if, really Zeus had blessed Olympia with a son who is so powerful. And Alexander, as he grew up, he had a big dream. What was his dream? His dream was, back then, people did not have a globe and an atlas, and satellites had sent satellites to space, knowing all over the world. So
They didn't even know one fourth of the world. They didn't even
the
travel one
world
fourth
was
of the world.
round and all. But what they knew was, whatever the land they knew of. So Alexander had this dream, it is said, of ruling the entire land from where sun rises to where sun sets. So they had this idea, by looking at the sky and all, that sun rises on the eastern side and sun sets in the west. So India was, of course, in the east of Persia. So, and Macedonia. So he had this dream of ruling the entire land from where sun rises to where sun sets. So they had this idea that, you know, India is the first place that receives maybe sunlight. So Alexander, when he became the king at a very young age, he did not care of his age. His personality was such, he could command a great army, and he prepared his army for a battle of
Yes, ma'am, because
conquering the world.
Aristotle taught him. Aristotle
Taught him. If you ever read geography in a little higher level also, you will see Aristotle was one person who had made many predictions and all related to the earth back in that time. In geography also, you have to read about him a little bit. So it is absolutely. What?
Yes, ma'am.
Abigail, what?
Great philosopher, Aristotle.
He was a great philosopher, but many of his teachings were, you know, geographically important as well.
We studied in the civics.
Yes,
Not
ma'am,
only
the man
that,
was
many
Ma'am, I have heard about Aristotle in science books.
absolutely, in many places, as I told you, geographical discoveries, many things are attributed to him. So in that time, you know, he was one person who was quite knowledgeable, and Aristotle had taught him all these wonderful things. Now Alexander, with all those knowledge, he wanted to rule the earth from where means the world from where the sun rises to where the sun sets. It should be his empire. It was his dream. Again, there is this story, you know, which said that when Alexander was starting his journey towards the east to rule and conquer all the land in between, there was like a saints you have who make predictions. So they say,
Yes, ma'am.
so Alexander's mother asked for the blessings for his son. So there was this prediction which a saint made and said that if he stays away for too long or crosses a particular boundary, if he crosses that boundary, now that he is leaving, he'll never be able to come back to Macedonia. So this will be his final journey, and Macedonia will not see him again. You know, back on the throne, he'll conquer. He'll remain undefeated. He'll go on conquering. But there was there was a prediction about him
that became true also.
I'm astrologer.
that actually became true in reality, which was said that he will remain undefeated in his life. His mother asked for this blessing. So some say Zeus said this, these are all rumors, but it is said that this is a stories that they say there, that there was this rumor that once you leave this land now,
I have a
you will not
question.
come back.
Ma'am,
Yes.
no, I have a question. Ma'am, in the video, when Alexander's father was assassinated, what happened to his mother?
His mother was there. His mother was living. His father, you
He
know,
was not
during
seen
those
in
times,
there.
there were many conspiracies and all that took place. So his mother was there. His mother was the mother queen that you become now. So they become like that, the queen mother. So it's like that. So when his son took over the throne, when her son took over the throne, Olympia was living after that. Olympia lived. So you see, actually it came true, but in history point of view,
Ma'am, I
if
have
I
a
tell
question.
1 minute, I'll just come to your question.
Yeah.
From history point of view, what actually happened was Alexander left when his mother was a little worried and said that, you know, there is this prediction that if you leave, you will not be able to come back. I will not be able to see you anymore. Means the prediction was that he will conquer, but he will not be able to really rule. Conquering, though, you are just getting. Then you have, as a king, you have to manage the kingdom, make it grow, make it prosper. For that, you need time. Actually, now Alexander started winning land over land. It is said there were two enemies which he met, which was fierce and which was, you know, very deadly that he met. One was the ruler of Persia. You know, in Persia, he met a great army, and then when he came to Jhelum, India, it was King Porus, who was waiting
Porus.
with his mighty army. King Puru.
Ma'am, it is also, he was the king of Punjab, so that means it is
He
Punjab
was
kings.
ruling the modern day Punjab. And don't think Punjab means only India's part of Punjab. Punjab is
And there is also Pakistan
In
Punjab.
Pakistan,
Yes, ma'am. Punjab. Pakistan, Punjab.
Pakistani king also.
It is not that. Don't, India was not divided. It's not that there was, these were two countries. It was a land there which you all know by Sapta Sindhu. So the region around the Sindhu river. So that was the land of the 5 rivers, Punjab, 5 rivers flowing through it. So you see, India, Pakistan became that much later on in
After the British, that's
1947. Which is only 75 years back, not more than that. So those lands were not divided before that. Hence, so when Alexander reached here, he and Porus had a deadly battle. Now, this battle, Porus, as you saw in the video, this was known as the Battle of Hydaspes. So in this
Yes,
battle,
Porus had the advantage because of the elephants.
Ma'am, it was
But
my
because
first
in the ground was
but
muddy,
because of the muddy,
ground was
that
muddy,
was
they-
his
the
biggest
The
disadvantage.
elephants got stopped.
two things happened. One is Porus's army's strength was elephants, which is of course much more powerful, whereas Alexander's army's strength was the horses. You will see this even repeated in history.
Ma'am, your voice faded.
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
we
Can
can
you
hear.
please?
I
it
will
is all
be
right.
as loud as possible.
Ma'am, can you please repeat this thing which you told? Your voice
I was just
came
saying, this is known as the Battle of Hydaspes. Okay, now Porus's army strength was elephants, whereas Indians have always been using elephants in their war for a long
Ma'am,
time.
why?
Why means? Because
Ma'am, horses help to. Ma'am, horses help. Like horses are
Ma'am,
fast.
Your voice
Question.
became low.
Ma'am,
Again,
voice
your voice
became
became
low.
low.
Okay.
How is this happening? I can hear
why
everything
Indian
else.
How
How
is
is
this
this
also here, ma'am?
you all are unmuting and then there is so much of noise, hence my voice is also sounding up and down. And then of course you all know, my dear, that this is due to sometimes network problems come and this keeps on happening. I have increased the volume, then it will not stay. If you increase the volume, then anyway,
It's becoming too much. The sound is becoming too much now.
so too much
No, ma'am,
and
it was
people
fine
to-
before. It was fine
Okay.
before. I think it's a problem.
again anyway, I'll just say this, that it was the Battle of Hydaspes. There Porus's army strength was elephants because in India there were many areas which were forest lands, and in these forests elephants were easily available. And on the west, from western side, horses have been their strength from a long time. They had fast moving, quick horses, very good breed horses. So they use the horses as their strength. Understood? Now these two armies, when they collided, well, one thing was, it was the monsoon season. So it started raining, and it is said that the river Jhelum flooded. Now, when there was mud everywhere and all those things, and it was thunder and lightning. Two things. One is thunder and lightning, and elephants get scared. They are very powerful, but do you know they get scared very quickly? You will see this when in class 7 you learn about the battle of Panipat between Akbar and Ibrahim Lodi. Also you will see how sorry, not Akbar, sorry, Babur. But you will see how Babur was able to defeat Ibrahim Lodi's army with horses, because elephants are scared of loud noises. And as it started raining, the Jhelum over flooded. There was thunder and lightning. The elephants got scared. They started moving here and there. They got stuck in the mud while the horses were quite fast. The horse riders could keep easy control over the horses. Hence, after a fierce battle, Porus or King Puru lost. But when asked, this is the famous story that when Alexander asked him with a great ego, Alexander was very proud as a king. Okay, so he was very proud and all. He said, so now you tell me, now you had so many elephants and this and that, but I remain undefeated. So tell me, how should I treat you? So Porus replied, treat me as a king should treat another king. Because whether defeated or whether victorious, you are also a king, I am also a king. Of course, I accept I have defeated, but that does not, I become no less of a king with that. Okay, I am a king and I will always remain so. So treat me as a king should treat another. With this answer, Alexander was very happy. He had not met anyone. Earlier, whenever he defeated any army, the king was always like, forgive me, I will do anything for you. And but now he said that I met an equal at the end, because that is what Alexander also would have said if he would have ever been defeated by anyone. He wouldn't have liked being treated any less than a king by anyone. So he said, he said that finally I meet my equal here. So he said that Porus can get his land back. He will be my representative ruling these areas, because he cannot rule everything from Macedon. So, but now he wanted to cross and come more towards the Gangetic Valley, where the
I have a question.
Magadha Empire was there. Yes.
Ma'am, if the Nanda Empire had 6,000 elephants, then what about the Magadha Empire?
Magadha was only ruled by the Nandas. During that
Oh,
time,
that
Magadha was
only.
only ruled by the Nanda dynasty. Yes,
Can you-
Devarpan?
No, one day you could show us the mighty Magadha. There's a
Of
video.
course, I will tell you the story of Magadha. I will definitely tell you an interesting
Did they have any
story.
fights?
Yes, I will show videos and I will tell you an interesting story. Devarpan, you had a question.
Yes, ma'am. Is Macedonia in Greece?
Macedonia in Greece.
And Olympics have started from Greece only. So Olympia, the
No,
name
no.
seems very
No,
familiar.
No.
don't think it's
That is
Olympic.
yeah, Olympia was a name it's a Greek name that was used. So
Olympia came
yeah,
much
yeah,
after that.
it's a Greek
Olympic came much after that.
Much after that, and the name has no connection with the queen. It's not that in her memory or so the name has been given, anything like that. So you see, but Alexander's army said that we cannot go any further. Okay, we will continue after the Diwali break with this topic.